All right, it was a busy day yesterday. I think 10 trades went down, and Bleav it was the most in NFL history. It was almost like the NBA trade deadline or MLB, the hot stove. The hot stove. I'll tell you what, though. I look at a few moves where it's like, could this help put teams over the top? Tuesday specifically, the Dolphins bringing in Bradley Chubb from the Denver Broncos. If the Dolphins actually want to go on a run and compete in the AFC East, I'm not sure they're going to catch the Bills, but maybe they get the wild card spot. You've got to be able to get to the quarterback with 4. And so Chubb, it costs Miami a first-round pick and running back Chase Edmonds. But the reason why you bring in Chubb is the Dolphins can't get to the quarterback with a 4-man rush consistently. Sack rate 3.6%. That's 30th in the NFL this season. Now, when they blitz, it's a higher sack rate at 8.8%, but that leaves your secondary vulnerable. Goes exactly what I'm talking about for why the Steelers bring in William Jackson. Now, in addition to Chubb, you also get Jeff Wilson, running back from San Francisco. So the Dolphins, for me, were one of the winners yesterday, because if you're actually going to try to compete and go on a run and win your first postseason game since the 2000 season, these are the kind of moves you have to make. And it's going to cost you a pretty penny. Bradley Chubb, first rounder. Hey, the Broncos are going to get back someone good potentially in this draft. But that lets me know where the Broncos are at as well, as sellers before the deadline. Bringing in Russell Wilson. Look, I know they beat the Jaguars in London this last week. Tells me everything I need to know. Tells me everything I need to know. Another winner, the Minnesota Vikings, TJ Hockenson. And he might have been the second best player dealt yesterday. It's not, say, Mark Andrews or Travis Kelce, but the fact that the Vikings can get a tight end within their own division, give Kirk Cousins a security blanket, give him another target, because teams are going to start and at least try to eliminate Justin Jefferson on the outside. Vikings still have Adam Thielen, still have Dalvin Cook. It's a high-profile offense, but the question still hinges on Kirk Cousins' ability in the playoffs, which we know how that's gone. We know how the last 30 to 40 years of Minnesota Vikings football has gone come postseason. The Vikings still only have 1 loss, but I'm still skeptical. I do think Hockenson helps them, though. And remember, this was a team, Tyler Conklin, their tight end from a year ago, he's on the Jets now. Irving Smith Jr. expected to miss 8 to 10 weeks with an ankle sprain. You needed to fill that void, and the Vikings did that. And they do that within their own division again. Surprising deal, but it went down yesterday. Also, I hate to admit this as someone who hosts a Pittsburgh Steelers podcast, but the Ravens bringing in Roquan Smith, NFL leader in tackles, and he's got the most tackles since coming into the league other than a guy by the name of Bobby Wagner. This is a great, great acquisition by the Ravens. The question I have is, Roquan Smith's going to get the bag in the offseason, right? Is he going to stay in Baltimore beyond this season? And clearly they think that, and I'm talking the Ravens here, that Patrick Queen wasn't good enough. And so you solidify your defense, bring in one of the best young linebackers in football, a guy who's been an all-pro, not just a Pro Bowler, all-pro, best at his position. He's everywhere. And look, he's going to get the bag this offseason. Lamar Jackson's also in a contract season. Interesting, though. Roquan Smith represents himself. Lamar Jackson represents himself. What if, in a world, Roquan Smith negotiates Lamar's deal and vice versa? Be kind of funny. The Jags getting Calvin Ridley, too. Ridley suspended for the remainder of this season, at least, due to gambling. But you're potentially getting Trevor Lawrence, a number 1 target, number 2 target, and you give up, what, a 5th-round pick for him? That was one of those deals where it's not going to help the Jags this season, but next season you might have gotten a Bugatti for 50 cents on the dollar. I like that deal for the Jaguars. Bills bringing in Nyheim Hines. Ike and I talked about, are the Bills going to bring in Kareem Hunt? They were rumored to get Christian McCaffrey. McCaffrey obviously goes to the 49ers. But the Bills still try to make upgrades to their running game. and they get Colts running back Nyheim Hines on Tuesday in exchange for Zach Moss, a conditional 2023 6th-round pick that can become a 5th-round pick. So clearly the Bills were trying to do what Ike has been saying now for a few weeks, that they're trying to upgrade the running game, take some of the onus off Josh Allen. Josh Allen's been the MVP through 8 weeks this year, but he can't do it all himself. And you worry, one scramble gone wrong, and you either take his ability to scramble or he gets hurt, put more of that onus on the running back position. That's why you bring in Nyheim Hines for the Bills. But the 3 winners to me, the Dolphins, the Vikings, the Ravens. I do like what the Steelers did in free agency during the trade deadline, because if you're not going to compete this season, what are things you can do to better position yourself for the 2023 season?